Hello, starting today off with a big smile on my face because I am getting a little bit nerdy this week. Hello, I'm Kim. This is the Coffee and Craft podcast, and this is basically where I rock up. I drink coffee, I talk about all things to do with running a handmade business, and I keep you company while you craft or work. And today we're going to talk about a little Etsy test that I'm going to be running for the next 4 months. And as you can tell from this face, I'm kind of excited because I'm a nerd and I like doing stuff like this, and I haven't done anything like this for a long time. So let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so why am I doing this? Well, basically a couple of years ago, Etsy went pretty anti-handmade with their promotional material, their rhetoric, everything. They seem to be actively turning their back on handmade sellers, the part of the business that was known for, their handmade roots, essentially. They were sort of like, no, that's not what we're about. And now, for whatever reason, Temu, they seem to be coming back to handmade. Now, I'm not here to have a debate with people about whether or not Etsy care about handmade sellers. I'm not actually interested in whether Etsy care about handmade sellers so much as whether Etsy is a good platform for handmade sellers. So they can have their own reasons for doing the U-turn and giving handmade sellers love again. I don't care. I don't care what their reasoning is. I don't care if it's for their own benefit. So for everybody going, oh, they're only doing it for themselves, I don't care. I know, and I don't care. What I care about is, as a handmade seller on Etsy, is it actually working? Are their promises trickling down to us handmade sellers, or has it once again just all been talk? And that's what this test is going to be about. So as I said, for the next 4 months, I'm going to bring all of my products back onto my Etsy shop after taking some of them off. Now, I've spoken in the past about how it can be helpful to see Etsy as the gallery gift shop, whereas your website, in my case, my Shopify website, can be seen as my gallery. And what I've done is that I've put all my big ticket, most creative handmade finished pieces on my website. And then I've kept Etsy for the more supplies-esque items. I do hand embroidery, by the by. You can kind of see one there. It's not very good, but that's one of my project bags. I make hand painted and hand embroidered project bags. So that was the kind of thing that I had on the website, and then on my Etsy shop I would have things like PDF patterns, printable designs, that kind of thing, the more supplies-esque thing. Gallery, and then Etsy was the gift shop. That's how it has been. Because if Etsy is going to turn their back on handmade sellers are going to turn their back on Etsy. However, I have done videos recently, or recently-ish, about some of the changes that they've brought in, which are good news for handmade sellers. I know it remains to be seen if these are actually going to be any good, but there's been a few months between them announcing some of these changes, and also there will be some extra months while I do this process. So there will be time there to really check out if any of the stuff that Etsy have said actually trickles down to us. And I want to see how my finished handmade items fare on Etsy compared to how they did. So in terms of views, yes, but not just views, in sales. Now here are the rules. No ads. I don't run ads. I don't run ads on my website. I don't run ads on Etsy. So it has to be organic views, organic sales, etc. And that also means no referring traffic myself. As far as my Shopify website goes, nothing's going to change. I don't run, as I say, I don't run ads there either. And I'm just going to keep on promoting that and referring my own traffic there. So this will be a chance to truly see how my handmade items do on Etsy organically. I mean, this really lights my little inner nerd up. I don't know about you. Okay, so before I break down my plan, because yes, I made a plan, it has phases and everything, let's quickly go over the state of play regarding my shop as of now. Or at least as of the time that I started this experiment, because I have technically started. So it was a bit neglected, I'm not going to lie. Etsy didn't really give me any incentive to try on the platform, so I didn't. And it had started to look even more scrappy when they brought in the changes with the picture ratios, because I had my logos in the corner. So obviously when you looked at my pictures and they were in the square ratio, the logo was half cut off and it just looked messy and unprofessional. And as I had taken some pictures with just frou-frou in the background, and some of them without, and some of them on plain backgrounds, and some of them on wooden backgrounds, there was no consistency and it all just looked a mess. And I didn't like the banner because I didn't think that if anybody landed on my page, because I'd taken so many items out, it was no longer completely obvious to a new person what that shop was about, what I did, none of it. So it already started off needing a bit of TLC. And that was the point that I sat down and I made myself a plan of action. And like I said, it has phases and everything. Listen, don't judge. It works. It works. For me and my brain anyway. Sometimes I have to gamify jobs to make sure that they get done. And by giving this an overall plan with phases, it gamifies it. Like I said, don't judge. Phase 1 was essentially tidying up the shop. So it had 3 main tasks. I've got my little plan of action here. It needed a new banner, check. I needed to tidy up all of the photographs so that they were more consistent and cleaner. And I am going to come back to the photographs, but at this point in time I just want to sort of almost take all of the bells and whistles out and just make them absolutely clean. So this is a starting off point, because if things look too cluttered, it just becomes noise in my head and I can't concentrate. So I'm basically bringing everything right back to basics. Now, this was annoying, so I changed the background to a plain white background, and I moved the logo so that it would be viewable in square ratio or the regular rectangle ratio. And then Etsy launched gift mode. I checked out gift mode because I wanted to see what kind of products they were showing up. And I'm going to assume that this is all AI and that there's no people involved because it's just too much work. But so far, everything that I'm seeing appears to be handmade. If it's not, it looks very handmade. There are 1 or 2 things that kind of slip through the net, as it were, like print on demand, that they look mass-produced, you know, a bit cheapy and mass-produced. But for the most part, I was really impressed. The other thing that I noticed, there were no logos. At least none that were added as elements to the picture in the editing process. The only time I ever saw writing on a photograph was when it was a part of the product itself. So if somebody, I haven't got anything to demonstrate. If somebody had their product and they had the packaging around it, and the packaging had the company name or what have you, any kind of writing on it, then it would be in there. But I didn't see anything that had any added elements to the photographs, as I say, as a part of the editing process. Things like my logo, which made me think, now would my items show up? I'm not sure. Certainly that's not the pattern that I was seeing. Over time, AI will learn and the search result will change. I really hope it doesn't change to start letting in all of the mass-produced stuff, because the feel of it was, I really liked it. From a buyer's point of view, I really liked it. And I found mugs, because I went searching for them, and it was the complete opposite to what I found before Christmas when I was looking for this mug, where I was just trawling through pages and pages and having to try and be really clever with my search keywords that I was putting in, like handmade, hand thrown. You know, I was just trying to put in anything that a generic mass-produced cup wouldn't have in it, and it was a task. But with this, it would just, like I say, there were a couple of things that slipped the net, but for the most part I was seeing what looked, at least to me, like handmade items, and it was really bloody nice, I'm not gonna lie. So usually I would think, oh, I'm not jumping through Etsy's hoops, I'm sticking my logo in there. But this, because it was such a positive, and because I liked what I saw so much, I thought, no, this is a hoop that I'm willing to jump through. So I went back to my photographs and I've taken my logos out. Which, if you know me, is a big thing because I'm a logo girl. Not anymore. At least not for the time being. That's part of this test. So I've tidied up my photographs and there's no logos in there. At least there won't be any just added to the photograph in the editing process. Like I said, my photographs are going to be something that I'm going to be circling back to. I just need some time to think on it a little bit more. And then the last part of this phase 1 was to add all of my items from my website back onto Etsy, which I've done. So now I think with the new banner, the cleaner pictures, and with all of my items there, well, number one, I think it's easier for anybody new landing on my shop to see what I'm about. Right, okay, I know this is a listenable podcast video, but for the sake of showing everybody what my Etsy shop looks like now, I'm going to put it on the screen. Okay, this is how it looked before, and you can see that the pictures aren't very consistent. There's a bit of everything in there. There aren't too many items, and the banner is pretty, but it just doesn't say what I'm about. And this is what it looks like now. I'm not completely happy with it, but at least you can get an idea that it has something to do with embroidery, because there I am embroidering. Ignore the hearts. That's just a Valentine's Day element that I've added. And you can see from looking at the pictures that they are a bit more consistent now. The background's clear. There's no logos. The only items that have a little bit of something in the background are my kits. Again, I'm going to circle back to all of the pictures and make them more consistent, but these ones were just too much in terms of work. And of course my PDF patterns, where you need to have something that clearly states that it's a PDF pattern. So I need to have the logo and I need to have an element on there. But otherwise, a lot better than it was. So phase 1 is complete. And then on to phase 2. Phase 2, this is where it starts to get a bit more interesting for me, because it's been a while since I've been making new items, and if I don't create things, then I start to feel very itchy brained and very restless. So I'm very excited to get to this point. There is a rule there as well, because I need to keep costs down, at least for now. The reason being, one, we're at the start of the year, which means it's just a slower time of year for me, so I just need to be sensible with my spending. And the other reason is, before Christmas, you see this shelf unit I have behind me, there's boxes, two rows of boxes at the bottom, and they were heaving with stuff. They were, each and every single one of them, my doom boxes. And I went in them and oh my goodness, I had so much fabric that I didn't even realise I had. So many other miscellaneous materials, supplies, I didn't realise I had. I had some things that needed to be listed that I hadn't listed. And I have so many WIPs, which work in progress is what that stands for. So I have a whole box that's just dedicated to all my miscellaneous projects. Because I have enough of everything, I need to use up what I have before I start buying new. So that's what phase 2 is. It's creating new items for the shop, but out of what I already have. And I've already made a start. Oh yes, I'm very proud of this one. Actually, hang tight. Right, so you may have seen these in the past. These are, is it gonna focus? This is a finished hoop that I sell, and it's a personalised one, so you can choose the initials that you have on the tree trunk, isn't it? This is mine, so it's like K and D. D is Daniel, my husband. It feels weird calling him Daniel. His name is Dan. He doesn't get called Daniel unless he's been bad. Anyway, moving on. I'm now selling these as a kit so that somebody can buy and make their own. And I'm also selling them as a stick and stitch patch. Focus, thank you. And on the kits and these patches, people can buy them, request the initials that they would like to have added. I will add the initials and send it on to them. So I'm really chuffed with that, because that is 2 new listings from an existing design. Creating new designs, it's long. It's a whole process, and it's long, and I don't have the time at the moment to be creating new things from scratch. So I'm just feeling very proud of myself that yes, that's 2 brand new listings, brand new products from an existing design. Oh, you guys, January was busy. I was tinkering away in the background there, as you can hopefully tell. So that's the phase that I am currently at. There is one more phase, and that is phase 3, where I will be starting on listing maybe or working on some brand new products. I haven't planned this one down to the minute detail because it will require a lot more forethought and planning, and I think I need to keep my brain space free to get, you know, the other phases done and dusted properly before I go chasing that shiny, because that's going to be a whole rabbit hole of stuff. Now I do have a tip jar tier on my channel membership, and up until now it has literally just been for that, the occasional community post, and it's literally just a tip jar for anybody who wants to support the channel. However, I have thought it would be fun to make a vlog about my process, about me actually working on these phases, and I've just finished filming the phase 1 vlog. I don't know when that will go up. I'm not going to give myself a consistent time frame for these videos because it's an extra video, it is extra work, and I find that I'm more likely to get it done if I just take the pressure off. So at some point, channel members, you will be getting a vlog which will be me running through phase 1 and all of the little fripperies that went into it, and I'll do phase 2 and phase 3 as I do them. But for the rest of you, I will be talking about this in the future, and at the end of it, I will be sharing anything interesting that I found. And hopefully, we shall see that Etsy is still a place for handmade sellers, a good place. Now I'm changing the subject ever so slightly. Next week's video is going to be about YouTube. So if there's anything you want to know about running a YouTube channel for promoting a handmade business, then drop it in the comments and I'll try to cover it next week. Otherwise, that's it. This is the experiment. That's the plan. I will report back. Have you had a chance to look at gift mode on Etsy? What are your thoughts? I had to be careful with this topic because I knew that it was something that really interested me, and really, oh, my inner nerd is just like, but I have to remember that not everybody finds these things interesting. So hopefully you did. Let me know if you did, and I will see you again next week. Ta-ra.